He says, وَمَا يَلْتَبِسُ عَلَى الْمُبْتَدِئِ and يقول, and amongst what is confusing for the beginner, or what confuses the beginner, is that he says, في نحوي, concerning the likes of مررت بقاض, I passed by a judge. إن الكسرة علامة الجر. He would say, that beginner, here, indeed, the kasra is a sign of the genitive case. So that's not true. I'll repeat why. حتى إن بعضهم يستشكل قوله تعالى, to the extent that even some deemed problematic, لا ينكحها إلا زان أو مشرك. What happened? What's he talking about? So we have two examples here. مررت بقاض and لا ينكحها إلا زان. Okay. So what's happening here? Both of these are cases of فعل ناقص, defective last root letter. So the origin is qadi and zani. If we put al, then that ya is going to stay firm. If we do put al, the ya is going to stay firm on the end here. And it is valid in Arabic to remove the ya with the confirmation of al. So that's extra information for you. If you remove al, though, then the origin would be to say qadiyin, zaniyun. Here in the second one, illazan. The origin is to say zaniyun, because la yankihuha, he marries her. That's a verb. The verb needs a doer, and the doer of a verb is always in a state of rafa'. And the sign of rafa' is a dhamma. So, illa zanin, la yankihuha illa zanin. None marries her. None marries the fornicating woman, but a fornicator. That's not a condition, though. So that means he's the doer of the verb here. So then, as the doer of the verb means needs a dhamma originally. So the origin of zanin would be zaniyun. So then what happened? So that the beginner becomes confused here. What happens is that in both cases you have Bismillah, the kasra is heavy on the ya. Kasra is heavy on the ya. So you're going to omit the kasra. Yani, I'll just erase it. Kasra is heavy on the ya. So you're going to omit the kasra. And dhamma is heavy on the ya. So you're going to omit the dhamma. This remaining harakah here is really a tanween. And so when we remove that dhamma or kasra, we wound up with a sukoon on the ya. So what was originally qadiyin and zaniyun, when we remove the kasra or the dhamma and we keep the noon sakina, then it's going to become qadin, zanin. And what this means then is that we wound up with two sukoons in a row. Qadin, zanin, and it's not valid to have two sukoons in a row. So the rule is you remove the first sakin. And let's not forget the kesra. Let me color code it here. This kesra on the dad, it's already there because of the yat that comes after the call bleed. It's kesra on the noon. Let me put it closer to the noon. It's there because of the yat. So we have two sukoons in a row. So we're going to lose the first sakin. The first sakin being the ya. So we remove the ya altogether because it has sukoon and we need to get rid of two sukoons in a row. So now all we're left with is the letter before the ya that has its kesra, as well as the tanween. So that means that this dad here, this dad is there and it has its kesra. This noon is here and it has its kesra. Now, in the case of Qablin, the Tanween is there. We remove the ya, there's a Kesra on the Dad, and there's a Tanween. So it's Qablin, Qablin, Marartu bi Qablin. And the Kesra that we removed here in putting in yellow, this Kesra that we removed, that's the sign of I'rab. But we removed it because it was heavy on the ya. So it's not, Bismillah. It is neither this kasra that's the sign of i'rab, nor this kasra that's the sign of i'rab. And so Ibn Hisham is telling us the beginners, they would confuse here this case. They would do the i'rab, they would parse the sentence as marartu bi qadin, and they would say the sign of jar in qadin is the kasra, the one that's present. That's a blunder. Rather, the proper i'rab is to say مجرور بكسرة مقدرة. In this case, it is مجرور بكسرة مقدرة على الياء المحذوفة. And same thing happened down here. We had the word zaniun, but the dhamma was heavy on the ya, so we removed it. That dhamma was the sign of rafa that we removed. So that left us with the tanween. That left us with the tanween. That left us with the kasra on the noon and the tanween, which is a dhamma here. But really, that tanween is not a oo sound; it's a noon sakin. In script, we are merely going to, yani, we're keeping this tanween. We're not removing this tanween. We're not replacing it. We're just sliding it over. So it becomes right there. Zanin. So then the way to parse this word is to say Zanin is marfu' بضمة مقدرة على الياء المحذوفة. That's clear?
So this is the same thing with the word mildly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Same exact thing. You're going to say mildly. So if it was marfu', it's going to be marfu' by dhamma muqaddara ala liya al-mahdhufa. If it's majroor, it's going to be majroor by kasra muqaddara ala al-ya al-mahdhufa. If it's mansoob, then you're going to say, you're going to keep the ya. Then you're going to keep the ya. Because fathah is light on a ya. So you would say, ra'aytu qadiyan, ra'aytu zaniyan, ra'aytu mawdiyan, for example.
And how would that be written?
Yeah, like this. Be written as qadiyan.
No.
So Ibn Hisham says here, what confuses the beginner is that some of them would say for the likes of Marar to be qadin, in al-kasrata alamatul jar. They would say the kasra in qadin is the sign of jar, the present kasra, which is not true. It's an estimated kasra that's the sign of jar. حتى إن بعضهم يستشكل قوله تعالى لا ينكحها إلا زان أو مشرك, to the extent that some have deemed problematic in their parsing the saying of God, the Exalted, which means none marries her but a fornicator or a pagan. وَقَدْ سَأَلَنِي بَعْضُهُمْ يعني زَانٍ وَقَدْ سَأَلَنِي بَعْضٌ عَنْ ذَلِكَ. Some have asked me about this. فَقَالْ, he said, yani his question was, كيف عطف المرفوع على المجرور? How could something that's in a state of rafa be conjuncted to something in a state of jar? They mean mushrikun, zanin. How's that? Why is not illa zanin or mushrikin? That's the meaning of this beginner's question. Or why isn't it illa zanun or mushrikun? How's this? That means he confused the kasra here for the sign of jar. And so I said, فهل استشكلت ورود الفاعل مجرورا. Said to him, well, okay, his question is, did you find that the doer coming genitive according to your view, did you find that problematic? It's like saying, that's your question? How did the majrur get conjuncted? How did the marfu' get conjuncted to the majrur? That's your question? Shouldn't your question be, how is the fa'il majrur? And I like this style also. Yani, if he related this story exactly how it went down and he's not conveying by meaning, then what this means is his student asked him a question and he answered his question with a question. Which, yani, I usually avoid doing that. I try to avoid doing that unless I'm trying to teach a person a lesson. Not for avoiding the question like a dishonest person doesn't want to answer straightforwardly. Rather for making the person understand, I'll answer his question with a question. So that's what he did here. Why didn't you find that the doer being majrur is problematic? So he's such a beginner. وبينت له أن الأصل زاني And then I clarified for him that the origin is to say zaniyun, like I told you. The ya in madmuma with by a ya with a dhamma on it. ثم حذفت الضمة للاستثقال. Then the dhamma was omitted because of heaviness, the heaviness of the dhamma on the ya. ثم حذفت الياء لالتقائها ساكنة. And then the ya itself was omitted because of encountering a vowelless letter. هي لالتقائها ساكنة هي والتنوين. Then the ya itself was omitted because of it having a sukoon itself and then encountering a tanween which has a sukoon. Meaning we got two sukoons in a row, which would need to be rectified because you can't have two sukoons in a row. فَيُقَالُ فِيهِ. And then it would therefore, the synopsis or the result is that it would be said about this word, فاعل, doer. وعلامة رفعه يعني subject. وعلامة رفعه ضمة مقدرة على الياء المحذوفة. And the sign of its being nominative is an estimated dhamma on the omitted ya. ويقال في نحو مررت be called جار ومجرور. And it is said about the likes of مررت be called I passed by a judge that the bat is a jar prepositional or genitive particle, and that called is indeed majrur, object of the preposition. وعلامة جره كسرة مقدرة على الياء المحذوفة. And its sign of jar is an estimated kasra on the omitted ya. Okay. Any question here?
No, I think it's clear, mashallah.
Okay. All the way up until here, everything's clear. Then he said, "Wafi nahwi," is as if he's starting a new paragraph here. As if he's saying, as for. So he says, may Allah have mercy on him. Wafi nahwi wal fajr wa layalin ashr. And in the likes of these verses, wal fajr, by the dawn, God swears by the dawn. وَلَيَالٍ عَشْرٍ, and by 10 nights. What are those 10 nights? Some said last 10 nights of Ramadan. Some said first 10 nights of Dhul Hijjah. So, وَالْفَجْرِ جَارٌ, just shut on that ra. وَمَجْرُورٌ. Okay, that's true. A genitive particle, because wow is swearing letter, swearing particle, which is a genitive particle. And fajr is then the object of the preposition here, or yani, if you want to call it a preposition. It's the object of the genitive particle. Jarun wa majrur, correct. Wa layal, and layal, atifun wa ma'atuf. Walayal is the atif, which is the wow, the conjunction, the atif conjunction, wa ma'atuf, and the conjuncted, which is layal. Wa alamatu jarrihi fathatun muqaddaratun ala al-ya'i al-mahdhufa. The sign of jar for layal is an estimated fatha on the ya, on the omitted ya, and layalin, because the origin of layalin is layali. So got omitted layalin and left the tanween, yani left the kasra and a tanween. Layalin. Okay. So the sign of jar for layal is fathatun muqaddara an estimated fatha on the omitted ya. وإنما قدرت الفتحة مع خفتها لنيابتها عن الكسرة. Yani, he's not telling us a mistake that a beginner makes. Now he's just telling us something so we don't make the mistake that the beginner would make. So he's telling us how to do the i'rab here. As for wal fajr wa layalin ashr, wal fajr is a jar and a majroor. Yes. Wa layal is atif and ma'tuf. Yes. Because I was the whole time waiting, saying, where's the mistake at? There's no mistake here. وعلامة جره, and the sign of jar for layal is فتحة مقدرة, an estimated fatha. Why? Do you know why? Why would the sign of jar be an estimated fatha?
Um, 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 yeah, here I'm not sure because I thought this is altif for the word that previously.
What are the signs of jar? There are three of them. The original sign is al-kasra.
No.
Then it has two alternative signs, al-ya and al-fatha.
No.
One's going to be ya as the sign of jar. If it's muthanna or it's jama'. So you say marartu bi rajulain. So it's majroor and the sign of jar is a ya. And you say marartu bil muslimin. So it's majroor and the sign of jar is a ya. What is going to be a fatha when the word is mamnu' min as-sarf? When the word is mamnu' min as-sarf, then sign of jar is going to be fatha. You say marartu bi Ibrahim, bi Ibrahima. You don't say bi Ibrahimin, bi Ibrahima. So you'd say Ibrahim is a majroor, wa alamatu jarrihi fatha. Its sign of jar is a fatha.
Is that like what Ibn Ajrum said, وَأَمَّا الْفَتْحَةُ
Yes.
فيكون علامة للخفض في الاسم الذي لا
لا ينصرف. Yes, exactly. It's
ينصرف.
exactly the same thing, 100%. But sometimes the fatha is going to be estimated. Like if someone's name is Yahya, and you'd say marartu or Isa. Marartu bi Isa, marartu bi Musa. So you say Isa is ism majroor. وعلامة جره فتحة مقدرة على الألف. It's an estimated fatha on the alif here because this word is mamnu' min as-sarf. Also, the word layali. Layali, it's mamnu' min as-sarf.
Yeah, I didn't know that, mashallah, about that word, subhanAllah.
So, walayalin, we say wal fajr, wal fajri, wa. The wow is the circuit connecting the conjunct, the conjunct to the conjunct. So one might think, because said walayalin, the way it's in the ayah, walayalin, there's a kasra present there. Ibn Hisham saying, don't slip here and think that that's sign of jar, this kasra, because of this wow al-qasam being the catalyst for the jar here. Rather, this is a case of a word that's mamnu' min as-sarf, originally had a ya, and that ya got omitted, and then there's tanween there for omitting the ya. And so the real sign of i'rab is the fatha that would be on the ya had that ya been there. So it's a fatha muqaddara ala al-ya al-mahdhufa. وإنما قدرت الفتحة مع خفتها لنيابتها عن الكسرة. Now from here, probably we should stop here because this is going to require explaining.
No problem. Jazakumullahu khairan.
آمين وإياكم.
Yeah, Ustad, I had a question بغير الموضوع إن شاء الله.
Okay.
So, I was hearing some talk, some atheists, they were challenging some people. Of course, the Christians are weak in debating because there's, anyway, but they were challenged. They said basically the premise of what they were saying was if Allah ordered you with the disobedience, what would you do? They gave an example. I mean, I'm just summarizing it. I'm just giving the template of really what they're saying. But they're saying, oh, if Allah ordered you to kill a baby, so what's the? I have an understanding, but how would you respond to from the point of view from Ahl Sunnah with that statement?
If an atheist said to me, if God commanded you to kill
That's
a baby, that's is that correct? It's the atheist, right? Yeah.
Yes, they're atheists.
If an atheist challenged me, asking me, what would you do if God commanded you to kill a baby? I was telling him I will kill the baby. So I will tell him. So if it says it's immoral, it's bad, I would say, how's it going to be bad if God told you to do it?
MashaAllah.
So I will say to him, this is a mistake of your thinking here. It's as if you think God has obligations.
MashaAllah.
I would add for him, although he doesn't believe, I would say to him, wasn't Abraham commanded to sacrifice his own son? Yes.
No.
But he's going to say, yeah, that's why part of why I have a problem with religion anyway, because of these, justifications for, like immoral things and wars and killing over religion, etc.
No.
That's what he would say. I will say to him, if there were a God, then don't you know that if he commanded you to do something, you have to do it? He created you and he owns you and he owns everything. So
no,
that's how I would answer.
No. MashaAllah. I think someone tried to respond in saying that if Allah made it a sin to do it, he wouldn't command you to do a sin. I think someone responded in that way.
Maybe that opens another door though, because then the atheist would be able to say, so God can't do that. So I would rather, this would, for me, what's more likely answer is to say, for example, I would say to him, it's as if you're asking me, what would I do if God commanded me to sin? And then he'll say, yeah, that's what I'm asking you.
No, that's the template of it.
Yeah. So I'll say to him, if he commanded for me to do it, then it won't be a sin.
No.
It won't be a sin. It will only be a sin if he commanded me to refrain from it.
No.
So by definition, it won't be a sin. So there's no conflict here.
I think I don't want to take it too far because I know that your time is up, but they go into a lot of the mujassim. They go into a lot of like anthropomorphic things, like the Christians will say, well, hearing the voice, this is what they say, hearing the voice of God. And if God told me, because, like that. So they go into, because there's a lot of deviance out, among these, like other groups. I don't want to say, I don't know how much is out on the internet, but other groups, they claim that, oh, this is from the Bible and this and that, and so we are, this one is, so they go, it's really a type of uh evil thing that the atheists try to trick people into, actually into kufr too.
Yes.
So subhanallah, I yeah, subhanallah. Anyway, barakallahu feek. I don't want to take
Anyone think?
your time.
No
Inshallah.
problem.
But they get into these things, man. These things are out there,
Yeah.
And somebody asked me, I said, well, I know one brother, mashallah, I was thinking about you. I didn't say your name. I said, I know one brother, he's very, very active in defending the religion, mashallah. So I was thinking about you, because they were saying, well, where's, la hawla wala. These people are just, I would say, like, it's almost like as if a shaitan wrote the script for them to try to
Yeah,
trick,
subhanallah.
because they're clever, they're very clever about it,
Yeah.
and very subtle, passive
Yes.
aggressive.
Yeah, they use
Anyway, barakallahu feek. Thank you for your time. I don't want to take
no
any more.
problem. No problem. They use their intellectual capacities for evil. Subhanallah.
Yes, exactly. And then they go down to wrong. They bring up arguments to lead them into wrong conclusions, and lead other people into dolala because of it. Allah protect us.
Well, I mean,